At 22:07, the 2nd of November 2021. Chinese tennis player Miss Peng Shuai whistleblowed in real name on social media platform Weibo that the former Politburo Standing Committee member and Vice Premier Zhang Gaoli of the Chinese Communist Party cheated and sexually assault her. It's shocking that Zhang Gaoli's wife stood guard to assist in sexual assault. This post went viral very quickly, which was banned just 20 minutes after it was posted. Zhang Gaoli might have raped a lady while the whole country's media had condemned Mr. Li Yundi for his solicitation. The Chinese internet blocked not only the post but also her Weibo account. Miss Peng Shuai was women's doubles champion of Wimbledon in 2013. Next year, her women's doubles world ranking was number 1. The highest world ranking is 14th, in terms of single. She has definitely been a top player in China. What could happen to her? Normally, in China, whistleblowers don't end well. The communists in most cases don't solve a problem, but solve the person exposing the problem. Let's first see her post, which was viral beyond the Great Firewall in the Chinese community.
I know this can't be clarified, it's pointless to say it. But I still want to say it. How hypocritical I am. I admit that I am not a good girl, a very bad girl. About 3 years ago, Vice Premier Zhang Gaoli, you retired. You contacted Dr. Lau from the Tianjin Tennis Center and asked me to play ball at the Kangming building in Beijing. After playing in the morning, you and your wife Kang Ji took me to your house. Then you brought me into your room, just like when I was in Tianjin more than 10 years ago. You wanted to have sex with me. I was very scared that afternoon. I didn't expect that your wife was guarding outside because it was impossible for anyone to believe that she would be willing. 7 years ago we had sex, and then you were promoted to the standing committee and went to Beijing but never contacted me again. I originally buried everything in my heart. Since you didn't intend to be responsible at all, why did you come back to me and take me to your house to force me to have sex with you? I have no evidence, and it is impossible to leave evidence. Later, you kept denying it, but you really liked me first, otherwise I wouldn't be able to get to know you. That afternoon I didn't agree, crying all the time. I had dinner with you and Aunt Kangji. You said that the universe is very big and the earth is a grain of sand in the universe, and that we humans are not even a grain of sand. You said a lot more. Just let me let go. After dinner, I didn't want to. You said that you hated me. You said that you had never forgotten me in the past 7 years, and you would be nice to me, etc. I was afraid and panicked, and, with you 7 years affection, I agreed. Yes, we had sex. Feelings are very complicated, I can't tell. From that day on, I fell in love with you again. In the days when I got along with you, you were a very good person. We talked about history, from modern history to ancient times. You taught me the knowledge of all things and then talked about economic philosophy and endless topics. We could always play chess, sing, play table tennis, play billiards, and play tennis together. We could always be so happy and our personalities went so well together, as if everything matched well. Leaving home early since childhood, I extremely lacked love. In the face of all this, I never thought I was a good girl. I hate myself, hate why I came to this world and experienced this disaster. You told me that you loved me very much, wished that in your next life we would meet when I was 18 years old and you 20. You said that you were very lonely, and that you were a poor man. We had endless topics to discuss. You said that you couldn't get a divorce at such a position. If you had met me in Shandong, you could have got a divorce, but now there was no way. I thought about being secret, staying with you like this. It was fine at first, but this slowly changed over time, Too much injustice and insult. Every time you summoned me, your wife cursed and insulted me behind your back, all kinds of cynicism. I said that I liked to eat duck tongues, and Kang Ji would say to me it's disgusting. In winter, there was smog in Beijing, and I commented that sometimes the air was not so good. And Kang Ji would tell me that that was my suburb's problem, and she didn't feel it here. She said a lot of things like that. When you were there, she never said anything like that. She was just as us. When two of us were along, we behaved in one way, and when there was someone else, you treated me differently. I told you that after hearing so many of these words, I felt very uncomfortable. Since the first day I met you to now, I haven't spent a penny of yours, and I haven't benefited a bit through you. But a title really matters. I deserve it all, and take the humiliation for myself. From the beginning to the end, you asked me to keep secret all the relationship with you, let alone letting my mom know that I had a relationship with you. Because every time she drove me to Xishiku Church, and I then had to change to your car, in order to get into the complex. She always thought I was going to play mahjong in your house. We were all transparent people in real life in each other's lives. Your wife was like the queen in Zhen Huangdale, and I can't describe what shape I was in. Many times I ask, am I still human? I think I am a walking dead, pretending every day. Which one is the real me? I shouldn't have come into this world. But I don't have the courage to die. I really want to live simply, but things go against my wish. On 30th, there was a lot of controversy that night. You said that we would go to your house in the afternoon on the 2nd and we would talk calmly. Today, you called at noon and said that we should talk later because of upcoming business. Just like 7 years ago you disappeared. Play and dump. You said that there was no deal between us. Yes, our feelings have nothing to do with money or power. But the feelings of the past 3 years I have nowhere to place, difficult to face. You were always afraid that I brought a recorder, audio or video, leaving evidence or something. Yes, I have no evidence other than me. There is no recording, no video, only my real experience that has been distorted. I know that people of a high ranking and high status like you, the powerful Deputy Prime Minister Zhang Gaoli, you said you wouldn't fear. But even if it has to be like an egg hitting a rock or a moth joining fire, I will speak the truth about you. With your IQ, you will deny it or you can counterattack. You can be so cynical. You always say that you hope your mother can bless you in heaven. I am a bad girl and I am not worthy of being a mother. You have sons and daughters as a father. I asked you if you would even force your adopted daughter to do this. Will you face your mother with peace after all the things you have done in this life? We are both.
Is the post telling a true story? There are no other sources to confirm this. But how can you get another source in China, where the foreign journalists are confined in Beijing and followed by agents while their counterparts in Chinese news agencies are told when to turn a blind eye and shut up? From the details, we can tell the logic is sound and may seem to be true. And a woman testifies in China under her true name, which is vetted by Weibo social media platform. This risks a lot. But this doesn't mean her story is not exploited politically. Why could the post live for 20 minutes under China's overwhelming censorship? Is it intentional? The timing of this post is intriguing given that a very important political meeting will be held on the 8th of November, in just a few days. This meeting will largely decide whether Mr. Xi Jinping will extend his chairmanship and hence bring China back to Mao's era. His major political rivals, Jiang and Zheng, will opt for the existing globalization. cooperating with Wall Street by enslaving the Chinese people in their sweat factories. This dispute will decide the future of China and has a worldly impact. And the man in question, Mr. Zhang Gaoli, a retired vice premier, is in Jiang and Zheng's camp. Given the escalating conflicts between these two fractions of the Communist Party, Mr. Zhang could make a big target for Mr. Xi Jinping. He was responsible for the energy sector while in office. Nowadays, there was a shortage of coal and mass outage in China, so is he just a scapegoat for these problems? Also, the communists have a habit of making a sacrifice before a major meeting. We shall see if he will fall a victim. Speaking of victims, Miss Peng Shuai is sincere, innocent and naive. Definitely a victim. She didn't go for money or fame at all, unlike others. Her story is typical, but what's different in this story is that the man is of a high status and that she is brave enough to come forth and testify. This may expose who communists really are. Mr. Zhang Gaoli is 75 while she is 35. Wow! How sexually vigorous Mr. Zhang is. The high-ranking communists care only about power, money and sex. If he has no affair, he would be laughed at by his colleagues. These are probably the reasons why this incident becomes viral. Mr. Jiang Zemin, the former party leader, has scandals of a singer, which is an open secret among Chinese. Rumors about Mr. Xi Jinping's triggered the protests in Hong Kong in 2019 and 2020. The whistleblowers and the snitches were put in prison. We hope Ms. Peng Shuai is safe. As for Mr. Zhang Gaoli, is he innocent at all? He is allegedly involved in the organ harvesting of Falun Gong folks and also a major explosion in Tianjin.